Thanks, Dr. Brady. Thanks for bringing us all together here and for letting Paisley and I put together such a great presentation. And thank you, Ellen and William, so much for coming and joining us today. I look forward to talking about practicing positivity and a new year and how to really work towards what we might consider a new us. I saw somebody pop in and then pop out. So I'm just going to close that window. So today we're going to just go through this presentation, but before we get started, we have a couple of guidelines that I'd like to go over first. So as Dr. Brady said, I'm an intern at the Mental Health and Wellness Center at Molloy College, as is Paisley, and we collaborated with Freeport Memorial Library to bring this presentation to you today. During the presentation, we'd like to really encourage you to try and keep your microphone on mute. It is a small group, so if you do want to chime in with your voice, you are welcome to do that, but we do encourage you to drop in any questions or comments in the comment box, and we'll be monitoring that. Either myself, Paisley, or Dr. B will highlight your comments or questions so we can respond. We also ask you to keep your microphones on mute to help reduce any background noises. We want to remind you to just be respectful of your fellow guests here at the presentation and really encourage you to talk to us as often as you can, like I said before, using the chat box below. So thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to talk about ways to honor the new year with our new goals. So the new year is an opportunity to refresh and improve areas of our lives that will support a richer and more supportive self and overall well-being. Today, we're going to discuss ways in which we can make these improvements, a simple guideline to ensure that we're able to obtain these goals that we have. So we're just going to go over the agenda briefly. We're going to first discuss why we set goals, and then we're going to introduce SMART goals, which is our tool that we use in counseling to try and obtain goals or at least lay goals out. And we'll break those down for you a bit, and then we'd love to kind of engage with you and discuss what some of your goals might be. So Paisley, do you want to talk about why we set goals here?
Yeah, sure thing. So why do we set goals? So setting goals has quite a few benefits. 3 of the main being vision, focus, and sense of achievement. To further break that down, when I say vision, I mean goals can clarify the image of your future, and it creates a sense of motivation in the moment. So setting a goal in order to further clarify our vision of what we'd like to see for ourselves. Focus, goals can help keep you on track and help organize your time and resources. So sometimes we might want something, but it's important that we use goal setting to allow us to focus on where we need to be and when we need to be there to achieve those goals. And then the last benefit to setting goals would be a sense of achievement. So setting long and short-term goals can provide us with the opportunity to increase our self-confidence through both achieving those small and large short-term, long-term goals. So that feeling you get once you complete that goal and once you've reached the end, so to speak.
Absolutely. It's the sense of achievement for me that really keeps me going day to day. And of course, this isn't an exhaustive list. There are so many different reasons why we should set goals, but these are the 3 main benefits that we wanted to highlight today. So how can we set goals? There are so many different approaches to setting goals, but in mental health and emotional health, we prefer using the SMART goals tool. And SMART is in capitalized letters because it is an acronym, and we'll break that down for you in a little bit. It's a tool that helps the goal setter be sure that their goals are attainable, and obtainable, frankly. We want to make sure that this is something that can be utilized by people across the spectrum of lifespan and also ability-wise. So this is the SMART goals acronym. And like we said earlier, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the comments. If you have anything you wanted to break down a little bit further, feel free to stop us, and we'll be happy to give you some attention on it. So SMART goals. This acronym has a couple of different names to the words, still letters, but these are the ones that I typically see and we use in counseling. You might also see this tool being used in a business setting, a goal-oriented setting where everybody is working together to try and achieve a collective goal. But these are specifically for our individual goals that we're discussing today. So S is specific, M is measurable, A is attainable, R is relevant, and T is time bound. The next couple of slides is going to help break down these specific parts of setting a SMART goal. We're going to ask ourselves things like, what exactly am I trying to achieve? How will I know when I've achieved it? Is this possible to even achieve? Is this relevant to my own growth? And when do I want to achieve this by? Paisley, do you want to walk through this specific part of SMART goals?
Yeah, sure. So the first step to creating a SMART goal is specific. So what exactly are we trying to achieve? Really breaking down a clear goal and working towards that staying focused piece we talked about a little bit earlier. So when you're doing this step, you really want to ask yourself the following things. Things like, what do I want to accomplish? Really pinpoint the exact goal that you're working towards. Why is this goal important? What is it going to allow me to do? What will it do for me? Who is involved in achieving that goal? Where is it located if that's something that can be used towards that specific goal? And then which resources or limitations are there that would be involved in reaching that goal? Really asking ourselves, is it simple, sensible, is it significant? Those are three things to keep in mind when you're looking at the initial phase of setting a SMART goal.
Absolutely. This first step of being specific really helps clarify what we're working towards. So the next step would be to consider whether or not your goal is measurable. How will you know when you've achieved it? Your goals should be measurable so that you can track them. You should ask yourself, how much do I need to obtain this goal? How often do I need to do or consider certain things to obtain this goal? How many? How will I know when the goal is accomplished? And what are some steps that I can take to reach these goals? So to give you more concrete answers or examples, we might say, how much time do I need in order to collect my reference letters to submit to apply to college? How much or how often do I need to drink water to help clear my skin? Different goals have different measurable parts. And the questions we want to ask ourselves are listed to the right to help us, again, gain some more clarity on how measurable our goal is. If this goal has parts of it that's immeasurable, it's okay to be flexible. It's okay to not be able to define it, but try and find some part of it that you're able to say, this will take me this long. I need this much money to accomplish this goal. Be sure to list it out and clarify those things for yourself. And of course, underneath, like Paisley had highlighted before, for specific, other things to consider under M is it meaningful or is it motivating? Sometimes the M means other things in different settings, especially in counseling. We like to kind of make sure it's specific for that person. So is this goal meaningful? Is it motivating? Does this obtaining this goal, what would it mean for you if you got there? Paisley?
Sure. So the A in SMART goals stands for attainable. So is it genuinely possible? Hold on one second, my computer froze. We're good. Is it genuinely possible to achieve this goal? goals should be realistic while still pushing you out of your current comfort zone. So in this stage of setting a goal, you really want to ask yourself things like, how can I accomplish this goal? What steps do I have to take? What are the things that are going to be involved in attaining the goal at hand? How realistic is the goal based on the resources I have? We want to make sure that our goals aren't super unrealistic or off base with where we're already at or what we can really attain. What do I need to make this goal happen? What are the things that you need to make sure that that's going to happen for you? And then lastly, does anyone or anything have power over this goal? Does your boss have a say in it? If you're having a job related goal, is there someone that's going to be in the way of that or help with that? Maybe some health concerns you might have. And then asking yourself, is there anyone that can help me reach this goal? So if so, what can they do? Maybe you are a minor and your goal is something that you need to be over the age of 18 for. Maybe you want to buy a car or something along those lines. Who can help you reach that goal? Maybe you need a parent or a guardian to help with things like that. So asking yourself those questions and really highlighting, is it achievable, is important at this step.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it achievable? And really reflecting on the reality of your goal. With the resources and tools and the abilities I currently have, am I able to achieve this goal? Or do I need to break it down to smaller sizes in order to make it? I often think about my abilities, my physical abilities running. I might want to run a marathon, but with my current resources and tools and abilities, I might not be able to do the full 26 miles, 23 miles, the whole bunch of miles that it is. But I may be able to do 1 or 2 now, which will help me move forward to the larger goal.
Yeah, I think that also goes back to the S part of the SMART. You can have an overarching, really big final goal, but taking that and bringing it into more specific, attainable now types of goals is important when we're goal setting.
Yeah, absolutely. So relevance, is it relevant to your growth? Really, you want to ensure that your goal matters to you specifically. You want to check in with yourself and ask, does this seem worthwhile? Is this the right time to try and achieve this goal? Does this match my other efforts and my other needs? And is this goal specifically right for me? I think oftentimes we're so influenced by those around us, we might kind of lean into a goal or want something that isn't necessarily specific for us, good for us, but it seems good for someone else. And with that said, sometimes we're encouraged, asked to change and do things that aren't that are good for someone else, but not necessarily good for ourselves. So you really need to reflect on what your personal place is in the goal that you're achieving. Running a mile or running a marathon is relevant to me because I would like to have some sort of longevity in my health and my body. Obtaining that goal to me means long-term health. If I decided to try to obtain a goal to become a firefighter, that might be more of something that my family expects of me, but it doesn't necessarily reflect my core values, my core needs, and my core wants. I don't know why I chose firefighter, but it was the first thing that came to my mind. Kind of like when someone, I guess doctor would be a better example. If your family wants you to become a doctor, but that's not necessarily something that you want to become, it's going to be harder to be able to obtain your goals because the goal isn't relevant to what you actually need or want. So the last one here is time bound. And Paisley, I'll do this one because I know you have some really great stuff coming up for us. Ooh, do we have some things in the chat coming in?
India said, okay. Hi, India.
Hi, India. So when do you want to achieve this by? We want to make sure that our goals are time bound. This kind of relates back to measurable, but this is specifically the time in which you want to you want to complete and attain your goal. So deadlines really help keep us focused and reach our goals. We want to ask ourselves, when do I need to obtain this goal by? How can I track that progress? How will this goal help me 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, years from now? But then come back to right now. What can I do today to achieve that goal? It is important to consider the time sensitivity of it. Is this goal so important for time that I need it to be in the forefront and have it take precedence over any of my other goals, responsibilities, obligations, or can I let it kind of drift along with everything else because it isn't time sensitive and it would impact me positively down the road as well as now. So it's important to kind of take a moment and look at the calendar and say to yourself, when do I need to attain this goal by? Oh, I'm not moving. There we go. Paisley.
So I think that it's important to always just touch upon the kindness factor. So, we're setting all these goals at the beginning of the year. We're holding ourselves in high regard and really pushing ourselves to obtain these goals that are big and could be difficult. So I think that it's just important to remember that when we're goal setting, to also remember that we need to treat ourselves with kindness and always remain kind to ourselves. So we're setting goals, we're maintaining, we're keeping track, but what can we do when we're having a bad day? Maybe our goal is to exercise for 30 minutes every day and you had a really long day at work and you just didn't get to it and you're upset. So what can you do when you have a day that it doesn't align with the goal plan that you had? To do this, I suggest a couple of things. Asking yourself, what can I learn from this experience? I had a bad day. It didn't happen the way that I'd like it to. Hold on 1 second.
We're just having some technical difficulties. We'll be back with you in 1 second. But Paisley, I know that you were talking a little bit about that kindness factor and being kind to yourself. I don't know if, I think that those are things that we can absolutely all relate to and sort of, focus on with everything that's going on around us, also being kind to ourselves as acknowledging that we have limits to our abilities too. Our abilities or capacities right now to take on all of these things.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's always a lesson to be learned. So I think that asking ourselves the first bullet point, what can we learn from the experience, is the first step to acknowledging that it's okay to sometimes, it not go the perfect way that you have it planned or that you want it to, and acknowledge and own up to really any mistakes that you made. So maybe with that same scenario of your goal would be to exercise every day for a little bit, get moving, and that day comes where it doesn't happen. Own up to it, acknowledge it happened, and be kind to yourself. Really empathize with yourself in these situations, and always look for something that you've learned. And then I think that the most important thing is to remember that we're always going to be moving forward. So the day ended. How can we use this bad experience and this negative day to push ourselves to reach our goals in the future?
I love that slide. I think it's so important for us to make sure that we're being compassionate with our progress. So we really wanted to be able to give you some time to process what goals you might have. We want to be able to allow you to think about any particular goals you have and allow yourself to apply the SMART goals process to create a plan on how to attain that goal. So I'd love to give you a moment to think about what goals you might want to discuss and please feel free to enter it into the chat box below, and we can help apply the SMART goals process to plan out you achieving this goal. I'm going to scroll back up to the SMART goals slide so that we can see it and use it to kind of go along. But Paisley, do you think that there are any goals that you currently have that you can apply this this tool to?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, going into the spring semester of our program, I think that one of my goals is to stay on top of my reading assignments. That sounds like something that I can handle. So specifically, I'm trying to achieve staying on top of all the reading assignments that we're going to have. How will I know when I've achieved it? When my grades reflect that I've learned the information, that I have the knowledge. I think that's a really good way for me to be able to measure. It's my ability to participate in class and get my assignments done. That's a good way to measure that goal. Is it genuinely attainable? I believe with time management skills, yes. And I would say relevant to my growth in my journey as a counselor, definitely something that I think would be helpful and relevant to bettering me and my knowledge as I venture out into the world as an individual counselor. And when do I want to achieve this by? I have about 6 months of the semester, 4 to 6 months of the semester of work to do. So I think within the first couple of weeks would be for time management for me. We also have some messages coming in.
Great.
So we have Ellen, that one of her goals is to lose the belly bulge. I think a lot of us at this point of the year are kind of feeling that goal as well. It's a short-term goal, so she's preparing for retirement in 1.5 years, which is a long-term goal. And she's also looking for an independent contractor type of job, which is a semi-short-term goal for her.
Nice. So Paisley, is there anyone that stands out to you there that you think you would like to help break down the SMART goal for her?
Of Ellen's goals?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe the first one. So Ellen, you said your SMART, one of your short-term goals is to lose the belly bulge that you're feeling like you're having. So how can we break that down in SMART goals terms? We have what exactly you're trying to achieve. We know we're trying to lose the belly bulge. So how will we know when that's achieved? How is that measurable?
Oh, that's measurable. That's measurable when, because when I sit down, I have my pants on, and when I'm dressed, and it's kind of like it's like the upper midriff's kind of bumping into me. It's banging into me. So I'll know when it doesn't hurt as much. When I sit down, it doesn't fold over.
Yeah, no, totally.
That's the measurable part.
Yeah, definitely. So then from there, we'd have to then look at attainable. Is this something that's genuinely possible to achieve? Ways that we can attain that goal? What do you think for that one, Ellen?
Well, the thing is, I know they say like dairy products is kind of bloats you, and so I can watch my intake of any dairy like yogurt, and I could switch over instead of regular milk to more the almond and the oat milks for that, and then I can also aerobic exercise, the walking in the afternoon, which I usually do. Maybe I could do some light sit-ups. That's about it, because I don't know what else. Oh, I also should watch how much I have like a plant protein supplement that I put in my coffee, so I can watch how much I have of that. Because sometimes if you have excess, I eat like high protein, low carb, so sometimes it doesn't really burn up because I have too much. So I have to watch my quantities.
Okay, so it sounds like it's an attainable goal, and you're able to map out the steps you need to take to achieve that goal.
Yeah, hopefully.
So then you want to ask yourself, is this goal relevant? Is this relevant to your growth? Do you feel that obtaining this goal will help bring you to a place that helps better support you and better supports your overall well-being. And of course, that is something that you're welcome to reflect on here with us, but it's also something that you're welcome to keep personal and not necessarily share in this group. But it is a part of this tool to reflect on whether or not the goal is relevant to our well-being. What do you think, Ellen?
Yeah, it's definitely relevant.
So then the last part of using this tool is time bound. When do you think you'd want to achieve this goal by?
I think like I should give myself like a month, but it's an ongoing thing, you know. So,
So it feels like an ongoing goal, but you'd like to see results within a month.
yeah.
Great, great. I would love to suggest, Ellen, if you get the chance to kind of use this tool and write it down. Write it down in a place that you have accessible to you in colors that inspire you and make you feel connected with not only the goal, but the activity of writing down your steps to achieve the goal. We can even provide this SMART goal slide for you to print out and have, and you can insert your own specific goals or steps to this goal that you have. But thank you so much for sharing.
Okay.
We have William in the chat says that some of his goals are to lose weight and exercise more, and also get his house ready to sell so he can downsize.
Wow, that's a very specific goal, getting your house ready to sell to downsize. William, if you'd like, we'd love to hear from you about this specific goal.
Well, right now, I'm retired and I live by myself. My daughter is married and moved away, so I don't need the house anymore. You know, that size house I have. So I'm looking to like get rid of stuff, consolidate, and probably move south where it's warmer and I can ride a motorcycle all year long.
Wow, that sounds lovely. It sounds like there are, within this one big goal, lots of other smaller goals. So it might be beneficial to kind of break it down and apply the SMART tool to each one of the goals. So I'm personally not fully aware of all the different things you have to do to get yourself to downsize on a house, but if you want to just pick one of the tasks that you have to do in order to make that happen, how can we apply this tool to it? Can you pick one of those tasks?
Well, the biggest task I have is to decide what to keep, what to get rid of.
Great, yeah. So going through all of your possessions, deciding what you're going to take with you and what you're going to get rid of. So that's a very specific goal, kind of fleshing out all of your personal items. How will you know when you've achieved that? How will you know when you're satisfied with the way that you've divvied up your belongings?
I don't know, quite honestly. I've been working on it a little at a time, but I see stuff that, you know, I don't need, but I kind of want. So it sometimes gets to be a tough decision of what what to hold on to and what to get rid of.
I'm sure, and I know some pieces
I've been collecting things. Yeah. I've been collecting things for a long, for a lifetime, but I can't take it all with me.
Right. Maybe there are some other measurable aspects of this task that you can consider. So you're moving, and you're likely going to have to use a moving truck or a shipping service. Maybe that size, the amount of things that you can fit into that truck or with that service can help you at least kind of make a specific measurement of how much you have to get rid of. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It makes perfect sense.
I know it's still complicated though, with all of the personal aspects and deciding what to keep and let go. Do you think that it is an obtainable goal to be able to piece through all of your belongings like this?
It has to be an attainable goal, otherwise I'm stuck here, and I don't want to be stuck here anymore.
So it's relevant to your growth.
So, yes,
Great,
most definitely.
great. And when do you think you have to achieve this by?
Probably the way I'm looking at it right now, hopefully by the fall.
By fall 2021?
Yeah.
Wow. So you have
Before winter comes
about,
around.
what's that?
I said before winter comes again.
So you have about 9 months to obtain this goal. Do you feel like that's enough? Oops, sorry. Do you feel like that's enough time?
Yeah, I think so. I've already started going through my closets and donating a lot of clothes that I don't really wear anymore. All my business stuff that I don't need anymore.
Great, great. So you really have to be moving within 9 months. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if, like we suggested for Ellen, if kind of taking the time to process and write down all the different steps you need to take in order to obtain this goal would be a useful practice for you. Oh, did I lose you, William?
I have to work on that. No, I'm here. I'm here.
Would writing it down be a useful practice for you and identifying which?
Yes, I
one?
think it would be. Well, I think what I've been trying to do is hit like one area at a time, not looking at it as a whole, the whole house, but going into a closet or a room or storage area and try to do one thing at a time to, instead of looking at the house as a whole and say, I got to get rid of everything.
So breaking it down by room and area of the house.
Right.
Dr. B, I saw that seemed to resonate with you. What do you think about that?
So yeah, I think that that's a huge thing that I've worked to do is to take these really huge goals and break them down into smaller, more manageable spaces, especially when it comes to like house stuff or work stuff. I kind of try to compartmentalize different things so that it doesn't feel like such an overwhelming goal. As an example with the house stuff, if you're like, oh, I have to clean the whole house, like you never get up to do it because it just sounds so like so much. So, if I break it down where, okay, Monday is going to be the bathroom, Tuesday is going to be the bedroom, Wednesday is going to be the kitchen, et cetera, it seems to feel much more manageable than it would when I say I have to clean the whole house.
I think listening to music gets it done too.
I'm sorry, Ellen, could you say that again?
Yeah, if you listen to music, it's easier too.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a little bit more motivation and a little bit more energy to assist with getting into the task that you need to do. Absolutely.
I'm just struggling with some Wi-Fi and connection issues on my side, and I happen to have been the one sharing the PowerPoint. So I just asked Dr. Brady or Paisley if they want to try and pull it up for you so you can continue having the visuals.
Sure. While you guys continue to talk, I can pull that up.
So it sounded like while I was fixing my Wi-Fi, you were discussing some of the different ways to get motivated to start a goal.
We were talking about breaking it down room by room and how we could do that and utilize that way of organizing something so big as, getting rid of, emptying out a whole house of stuff can be very overwhelming. So I think I agree with you, Dr. Brady. The idea to do it room by room can be really helpful. Ellen also mentioned that listening to music while trying to accomplish a task like that can be helpful, and it can be really calming.
Absolutely. I love the symbolism of taking on the house room by room and area by area. I think that that's such a great metaphor for how we want to approach goals in general, just attacking one piece at a time. And it is reflective of SMART goals in general, the way that they kind of break things down. And because we can't take on the whole house at once, just like you were saying, William, it's really one piece at a time in order to accomplish the goal in a thorough manner.
Does anybody else have any goals that they'd like to talk about? Or any input on how this group has been for them today?
You talked about goals and everything, but you know, I have a tendency to copy my father to get negative. Like every day I wake up and I kind of like really have to listen to someone like or read Joel Osteen, you know, to give myself a chance to be positive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people like that. You know, just give myself a chance because I was born, not because I achieved this amount or I was good or bad. And did you have any ideas on that? Because that was like the theme of your seminar, a positive you.
Okay, so you're wondering ways that you can wake up more positive and start your day more positively?
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you're already utilizing some really great tools like podcasts, books.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot going on in the world, and it's really difficult to motivate ourselves to, you know, get out of bed, get our days going, and enjoy that day, because they might look different than what we typically have our days look like. But I think that's something that is really helpful is utilizing things like journaling and you know, exercise can really help us stay positive. Also, there's a lot of really good resources. You know, you mentioned listening to podcasts. Those are a really great way to motivate ourselves to start our day off on that positive foot. Would using something like a gratitude journal be something that would interest you?
Yeah, the gratitude, right? To focus, you know, so the glass is half full, not half empty.
Right. So the idea would be that you would, you know, wake up in the morning and remind yourself of things that you're grateful for, even if it's something as simple as I woke up, or you know, I got a good night's sleep. Just to start your brain with those thoughts of things that are good going on in your life.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a good focus.
Great. Would anyone else like to share or have any input?
I can share one of mine if I can hang on to Wi-Fi long enough. So sorry to be in and out like this. So, Dr. B or whoever's sharing, do you mind pulling up the SMART acronym? So one of my goals as a student about to graduate a master's program is to obtain a job, specifically within the mental health field. And I was able to kind of use this tool to break it down to make it specific even within the field. I want to try and find a mental health counseling job at a higher ed position. And I will measure it by saying, how will I know when I've achieved it? I'll know I've achieved it at least when I receive an offer from a place with the type of job that I'm hoping to obtain. And do I feel like it's genuinely possible to achieve it? While I might be being slightly over ambitious. I do believe it is attainable, given my experience both working in higher ed positions and gaining my mental health counseling degree. Is it relevant to my growth? Yes, this is relevant to my growth because it's something that I have been working towards for many years in order to become a mental health counselor. And is it time bound? Yes, it is time bound because I need to be able to pay my bills and I need to be able to acquire hours in order to get my actual licensure. So I share this with you because it is a personal goal of mine and this is what we're discussing, but also because I just wanted to highlight the different parts of my goal that I had to specifically lay out under specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound in order to in order to determine whether or not this was an appropriate goal for me. And I think for me, and I'd love to hear if this resonates with anybody, for me, one of the most important parts of this goal is to talk about relevance. I mentioned before, it's so easy to try and take on goals because of our environment, but it's most important to take on a goal because it genuinely supports and nourishes our well-being, the relevance to my growth, whether it's academic, professional, medical, biological health. We want to make sure that this is specifically something that we need to do. I'd love to know what other parts of the SMART goals most important to others when they're considering what goals they might want to take on.
I think that one of the important parts for me is really about motivation, which doesn't necessarily get captured here, but I think for me it falls under the relevance that you were just talking about, right? It's relevant to my growth. And if I feel that it's relevant to my growth, that's where that motivation comes from. And it's so important to find something that is fueled by this intrinsic or inner motivation, that we're not solely relying on outside factors to push us forward towards this goal. When it comes from within, it's much more sustainable for us to follow through with the work that we need to do. So motivation is huge. And there can be other additional motivators like rewards for yourself, or, motivation like music so that you feel energized and can follow through with your goal like we talked about before. So I just think that motivation is a key piece that I think we all need. How do we motivate ourselves to do this thing that is relevant for our growth?
I think I'm in the same kind of a boat, like what's going to help push me through achieving this goal is what really resonates for me when I'm setting a goal. So is it relevant to my growth? Yes. And then how can I push myself to achieve that goal? So I guess that could almost be a mixture of like measurable, attainable, and relevancy for me personally.
Yeah, I think aside from relevant, what I think about for myself when I'm setting a goal and what I really consider for others is the measurable piece. It's not so clearly stated, but it's really like resource based, what we have available to us. And that is, of course, kind of talking about what we have that we can use to move forward. So do we have the finances? Do we have the time? Do we have the ability, like the physical, mental, cognitive, emotional ability to move forward with this goal? It's important to consider when thinking about other people reaching goals, the impacts of their environment that might not allow them to achieve the goal. Like I said earlier, the finances, the education, those are all different things that kind of can get in the way. For me, I would have never gone back to school because I didn't have the resources, the financial resources, but I was able to find a way around it to make it happen for myself. And I think that's a really important factor to consider when you're making a goal. Do you have the resources to obtain it?
In talking about resources, I think it's also relevant to talk about support. You know, what support do we have from others around us if we need that? Who can we go to if we lose that motivation? How can we rely on others if that's something that we need for ourselves to be successful? And finding a good support system to help you achieve your goals is a really significant part of the success factor when trying to achieve these goals. And I think, you know, there's a lot of reasons why our support system is important. Not only motivation, not only to have cheerleaders who are helping us out, but it's just good to surround yourself with positive people to improve overall mood, you know, to feel like you have something to rely on. And also during difficult times like we're going through and have gone through, we can rely on them to help get us through the good and the bad.
Yeah, Dr. B, I think that's so true, really. Allowing ourselves to acknowledge the importance of our community and acknowledge the importance of having support from the people around us to obtain our goals and how they can impact us in a positive or negative way when we're trying to move forward. I think that is essential. That's key. I'm wondering if anybody has had experiences like that they might want to share where they have been supported by others to obtain a goal. You can, of course, take your time to enter anything into the chat.
I know for me, when I have a positive support system around me, it feels like I'm invested so that I'm doing it for so many more reasons. When my support system is positive, when I lack support, or when I've had negative supports around me, it felt like failure was an option, and that didn't sit right with me. So I had to reevaluate the supports in my life and say, like, I want people who want to promote my success instead of accepting my failures or shortcomings. I don't love the word failures, but you know, and you know, once I changed the supports in my life and altered that, I feel like I was able to achieve success more, was able to be more motivated, and was able to feel like I had more at stake while working towards these goals.
Dr. B, you have had such incredible goals that you've had lay out in front of you and have clearly accomplished given your academic accomplishments. And I'm thinking about all the different types of support that you must have had during that time. And it makes me think of my own personal support that has brought me to join school and to obtain that goal. And I'm also thinking about Paisley's journey becoming a master's student and thinking about the type of support you must have received to even decide to join a program like this.
Yeah, something that comes up for me when I was listening to Dr. B speak is this idea of accountability. So when we have a good support system, it also holds us accountable when there's, people that are rooting for you and helping you along the way. I know for me in my journey in school, at least financially, my family's been very supportive. So it's allowed me to have motivation and also that accountability piece that's pushing me even further to continue and keep going when the going gets tough.
Yeah, I love to hear that like essential type of support. I think we've actually talked about this before when we did our support presentation, different types of support we receive. You have a lot of essential types of support that allowed you to move forward. And I think for me, it was a lot of the emotional support and the encouraging support that allowed me to move forward with it that I received from the CMHC program, actually from the faculty there and the fellow students there that allowed me to see that I was able to potentially accomplish this goal, and inevitably did. I'm wondering if anybody who's joined us here has any other experiences like that they could share with us about their community supporting them in obtaining a goal, or ways in which they can have their community support them in any of the goals that you've already shared with us, like moving the way William did, or losing weight the way Ellen had. I'm wondering if anybody would care to share ways in which they can involve their community.
While we do this, I'm just going to shoot to the end of the presentation where we have some information, some additional information. So I just want to let you know that I'm going to do that.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, it's funny because I'm a little older, but I joined AARP, and they have like exercise videos, in the site, and you get points and stuff for them that you can get like gift cards. So, like they have Denise Austin, so I could do some of those for exercise.
That's great. That sounds like a fantastic resource and community encouragement. I'm so glad that you have that available to you through AARP. That's awesome. I see a lot of you coming through the library, the Freeport Memorial Library. That I also see as not only community support, but as a fantastic resource that provides or is a gateway towards information on ways to accomplish goals, like literally information on how to accomplish specific goals through the books, but also these types of resources where you can receive community support or fresh ideas on how to approach things. And I'm so amazed that each one of you have come here to utilize that tool through Freeport. It's so good to see people using resources like that.
So we are just about out of time for this presentation. So I do want to kind of take a moment to have one of you talk a little bit about our services at the center in case anybody is looking for additional support. If either of you would like to jump in there.
I will, sure. So our center offers telehealth options right now. We see a range of ages and really anybody. So we do couples, families, children, adults. We have a variety of interns, an intern-based center. So we have a variety of clinicians with varying specialties and interests. We can really piece you with someone that we think is going to be a really good match. We also do like workshops like this, staff trainings, group workshops, support groups, and we're reachable through email, phone. We have an Instagram, a Facebook page that we stay connected on as well. And yeah, so any questions that you have about the center, if I didn't just mention something that you were thinking about,
shoot us an email, a phone call, whatever is the most convenient for you. And we'd love to get in touch with you and, see if we can be of service for you.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming and joining us today. Look out for future workshops that we may be offering through Freeport Memorial Library. If you're interested in other offerings that we do have, feel free to follow us in one of our by social media, or if you want to join our mailing list, feel free to reach out to us by email. So I want to thank everybody for coming today, and I want to thank everybody for participating and joining in on this discussion. And I want to thank Teresa and Paisley for offering us this very informative and helpful program. And, I want to wish, again, everybody a happy and successful new year, where you reach all of your goals that you set out for yourself. And hopefully you'll be able to use some of these tools talked about today to set yourself up for a successful year. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you all have a great day.